Howdy, Coach Fisher. Well,
Howdy.
welcome to the Zoom. You want to start us off with a statement?
Yeah, after an off week last week, I thought our guys are handling things very well, staying on our academics, giving all those things. The guys that could run and train, we ran and trained, and not in pads, but in just to keep running, change the direction, agility drills, and they threw and caught a little bit, some of the guys that did. And the quarantine guys can, after so many days, they had so many tests, they can, in very limited small groups, train with distance things. We kept those guys doing that. And so had a good off week. This week we'll get back into some of the guys. We'll probably get back on the field with the limited guys we have that are available to try and do some position-specific work details, fundamental work. Some of our young guys that are in that as much limited practice as we can. Can't have full practice. Don't have the numbers and things, but we'll try to get some work in to get better. And whether it's run game, pass game, defense, blitz, whatever it is, in very limited groups with the guys that are available. And the other guys will continue to train on their own in very small, separate groups to try to keep conditioning for when they get back. So that's the plan, and then keep going forward. Questions?
All right, we'll start with Brenton Zwerderman from the Houston Chronicle.
Jimbo, I know you'd rather be playing, but do you also try to adopt kind of a half full approach of saying, hey, now we've got 2 games closer to later in December when, say, maybe the playoff committee is making its final decision as well, to be fresher on their minds?
Yeah, I mean, you turn it all into a positive. You get a chance to heal up a little bit maybe, and some guys are nicked and knacked, and later in the year, get some health, get some film, get some things to hear. And I don't mean this, everybody has the ultimate goal. You want to be in the playoffs, you want to go win it. But right now, we're trying to control and stay in the moment where we're at. And like I said, if we keep taking care of our business and playing well, then we'll have those opportunities at the end. We don't try to quite think of it that way, but you always got to put a silver lining in things, let you heal up, get better, work on fundamentals as much as you can, develop some of your young players for depth on down the road later in the year, and see where you go.
The quarantine players, do you all send a specific routine to those guys, workout routine, and like what would be an example of that?
Well, they can come over here. They can come over. They can just be in very small groups and be separate, and strength trainer can stand at distance and run them, give them drills to do, in very small groups, so they keep distancing where they can't be, and they're not even together. They still have to have so much spacing. So we try to do that just like we would do summer workouts, winter workouts, conditioning in that way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Chip Howard from Sports Talk.
Jimbo, do you have any idea how many could practice this week?
I mean, our numbers were in the 40s. In the mid to high 40s, somewhere where we're at, with overall numbers. So something in that regard.
And you guys were on a pretty good roll when all of this happened. As a coaching staff, I know you're in uncharted territory, but what do you try to do to keep that edge with guys, especially when you're not getting to see them like
well, I mean, we have Zoom meetings we do regular Zoom meetings with them, just like you was in position meetings. We do studies, we do breakdowns of what you've done well all year, what you haven't done well. We're proving those things, keeping their mind in the game, keeping them fresh, keep the physical workouts that way, and then you'll have time to get back and get prepared for a game. And you still got the same guys, so they can hopefully still play as well in what they're doing. I mean, that's the challenge each and every week, whether you're on a roll or not on a roll. That say you're on a roll, do you take things for granted and you don't work? I mean, it goes six. Listen, it matters how you practice, how you prepare, how you get your mind ready to play each and every week. And, these are challenges because they're new, but there's some things that, can definitely be done and taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Zach Taylor from WTAW.
Jimbo, just a question on as far as positive cases, not just folks in quarantine. Are you guys still at 2 positive cases, or do you know that number?
Yeah, I mean, we have 1 coming back. I mean, as far as active players, it'd be 1.
Okay.
We had an off the field guy or so have 1, but I mean, the guys that were very, did specific little things around the program. But as far as actual players, it'd be 1 coming up now.
Okay.
1 came off because 1 came off, but it doesn't change the quarantine.
Gotcha. And I know that Greg Sankey was asked about this last week during the teleconference, but I'm not quite sure how familiar you are with the NFL's testing out policy. But would that be something, if you are familiar with it, would that be something that you would support?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They have a more extensive and exclusive testing policy in general because they have they had lesser guys, which cost more. I mean, you get into costs and all those things because you're talking hundreds of guys here, where you're only talking 40 or 50 there, and they test daily, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong on that. I mean, I'm for anything that makes it better, but at the same time, there's a other side of that thing that's not just their testing out, but they're testing in of why it's so consistent, from what I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not an expert on that. But anything that makes it better, listen, here's what I'm for. Whatever makes it the safest for the people participating in the organizations, the players, coaches, and everything else. I mean, we all want to play, but we still want to be safe.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Mike Lucas from KAGS.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
All right. How are you?
Good. You mentioned keeping the players' edge earlier, but you guys were on a roll, won, I think, 4 games in a row heading into the break. So how do you keep the momentum up when you guys come out of the break? And is it possible to sustain that momentum?
We'll be right back on their tails and pushing them the same way we practiced before we were playing. Then we'll be right back in it and pushing and going. And I think they will too, because they know they have a chance to have a very good season. They're having a very good season, and guys like to play and push themselves when things are going well. And hopefully, even when things aren't going well, that's a test of who you are. And I think it's just life is about changes. It's about adaptation. It's about making the best out of situations. And I think this is a great lesson for them in life. And I think they'll handle it the right way. And so far they have.
And a quick follow-up on that. Does it help to have a veteran team in this circumstance and situation?
It doesn't hurt. That's for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Tyler Shaw from KBTX.
Coach, you talked about the, quarantine players still able to train just, at a distance, just kind of a clarification on, I guess, what practice looks like and,
training, and now they're just running and conditioning. All they're doing is running and conditioning.
And so when would you anticipate to be back at full strength? I mean, I guess just with the guys in quarantine, when does that end? And
be 2 weeks. They'll be back next Sunday. That's when the majority of them come off. Be next Sunday.
And kind of going off that last question too, keeping that momentum out of court. Obviously, this is a unique situation you haven't dealt with before. So, I guess, how do you anticipate the team? I guess just the overall shape to be when you guys are.
I think it'll be great. I think they're running hard. You still put the GPS modes on them for safety issues. They know how far they're running, how fast they're running, directions, timing, and all that stuff. And some of the guys, when some of the guys will practice this week, get contact back. They'll have to get used back to contact. That won't be hard for veterans and people who are in that situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Mark Passwaters from Rivals.com.
Coach, you've already discussed at length what the players get to do during this 2-week surprise hiatus, but what do you and the coaching staff do, now that you've got 2 weeks?
Film evaluation of each individual guy, strengths, weaknesses, things we've done well on the season, things we haven't done well, things we need to improve on, working on those things, working on fundamentals, watching film of your opponents, breaking down all your opponents, all the situations, just like a game plan for your 4 final guys to make sure you're prepared as much as you can when that game week comes in, and have Zoom meetings with your players. To keep them engaged and have regular team meetings that way, and individual meetings and special meetings, and then do that. So I mean, there's plenty. I promise.
Oh, so that's all.
And of course, it's curious. And one little thing called recruiting. So you're allowed to spend a little time called recruiting too. So I mean, you can text and call and do all your things and that stuff too. So trust me, we have it on the field, but as far as time wise, it hadn't changed much for us.
Oh, okay. So in other words, not much then.
No, it's just you can't be on the field. We're just missing the practice, but we're fine. We're finding ways to fill those hours of non on the field practice time.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Next up is Justin Woodard from KAGS, and then Brian Proney.
Coach, are you able to tell us what position groups got wiped out the most with the contact tracing?
No, I mean we'll keep all that private in their own care. But I mean, you had some guys that some groups were hit harder than others, but it shouldn't be a factor when we get back.
I was going to say, so correct me if I'm wrong. So Kellen can't throw the receivers at all on their own time. Can they do any of that on their own?
If whoever's in quarantine, they cannot do that. No, they're not encouraged to do that because they're tired to keep away and do those things. I mean, and I pray if you're in quarantine, you're in quarantine. So I hope you're following the rules. If those guys are the guys that are involved, those guys are the guys in the case, then I pray that they're not doing that, because we're not encouraging that and don't want that.
Okay. And then last question, when you do get back on Sunday, do you ease everybody back in since it's going to been so long since you were on the field together, or do you go full go right away?
Well, we'll judge how their workouts are and what their speeds are from the GPS in which they put on when they do work out. So we'll be able to tell that, but they should be able to get back in a normal routine, I would think, in that amount of time.
All right, let's go to Brian Proney from Gig'em 247, and then Ola.
Hey, Coach. In the release today that with the game being postponed, it did not really mention a makeup day. It said it could potentially be made up. Do you expect that the A&M Ole Miss game to happen at some point?
Do I expect to make up the Ole Miss game?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've added 2 weeks. There was a built-in week, and they've opened up the
Yeah.
19th now, so that would be 2 weeks. So I would fully expect to make those games up for sure.
Okay, I just know there's been talk about, LSU with Alabama possibly in a championship game and them, maybe moving that around. So
Well, I don't know that. I mean, if the SEC moves games around, we still have 4 weeks to play 4 games. So whatever they do, we'll definitely adhere to.
And on a completely unrelated note from that, Myles Garrett is having a MVP type season in the NFL. Is that something? I know you guys didn't, coach him, but is that something that you guys are? And I guess Terry Price did that y'all are pointing to in recruiting.
Well, I mean, I would, of course, Terry. I mean, you look at a coach. And you look, guys you've coached, guys you have success as a coach, have you won championships? Have you won games? Have you put yourself in position? Have you developed players? And each individual coach has those guys he's developed. So, yes, that's definitely a plus for us. And I actually did read an article. I saw that when Myles, I believe, is leading the league in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. Is that not right? He's the quickest guy ever to 40 sacks in their career. It was in one thing. I mean, and you're talking about a tradition-rich organization there that's had some great players. That's great by him, and just another tribute to how great he is. And again, Coach Price was his coach, and that's a great thing. He knows how to get guys there. I mean, he knows how to get guys ready.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com and then Robert Cessna.
Going back to when Brent was asking about the upcoming playoffs and stuff like that, I was just wondering, do you have any reaction at all when you see or hear, media types or whatever, at this point, putting Florida ahead of Texas A&M?
I don't. I mean, hey, that's opinion. We'll see. And I haven't seen the official rankings, so I don't know if that's true. I mean, listen, everybody has an opinion. Some guys like us, some guys like that's going to be part of it. And it's going to matter what you do on the field and how you do it on the field. And that's all we can control. And that's their opinion. We'll control what we can control, and they say what they say.
Does it matter what you do on the field if you beat a team and other team and some still think that they should be ranked ahead of you?
Then that's their business. I can't control that. All I can control is playing well on the field.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next up on the queue is Robert Cessna from the Bryan College Station Eagle, and then Chip.
Jimbo, you've mentioned you don't like playing your friends. Just your thoughts on South Carolina letting Will go, and if you've talked to Coach Muschamp.
Yeah, we had a little contact, and I reached out. Listen, I think the world of him. Listen, that guy is a class guy. He's as good a guy as there is. He's a hell of a football coach. I've known that, and he's a very good football coach. Has done it. He had some tough times this year, but they've done some really good things there. I hate to see it. You don't ever know what goes in those decisions and what happens, and that's kind of the world we're in right now. But unfortunately, I know this. He's a heck of a guy, a tremendous guy. What you want, and as good a guy as there is in this business, and a very good football coach, and he'll land on his feet, that's for sure. But very disappointed to see that. But I don't know all the ins and outs of things, but just hope best for him and his family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, got a couple more questions. We'll go to Chip Howard from Sports Talk, and then Zach Taylor.
Yeah, building on that, could you see Coach Muschamp as an analyst with you at any point, Coach?
I don't know if that's something he's interested. I think the world of Will as a football coach, and if he's ever part of this, or have a chance to be a part of this organization, I would definitely embrace that. That's for sure, because I think he does a great job. But those decisions, Will and his family got to make him what he wants to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the last question on the queue is from Zach Taylor from WTAW.
Yeah, Jimbo, kind of piggybacking on a silver lining for all of this, it does seem like it allows you to get your guys healthy as well as getting even more practice time leading up to bowl season. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you'll be practicing. I mean, instead of having bowl practices then like you normally have during that time from the 5th on, we should be preparing for games. So, I mean, we'll be in game shape, that's for sure.
And do you see that as at least kind of a silver lining, I guess, in all of this?
Yeah, I mean, there's silver lining. Anytime you get to play ball, that's a silver lining. I look at that as a silver lining. I mean that wholeheartedly. Anytime you get to play and finish out your season and do the things, because we were at a point this year we didn't think we was even going to get to play a game. We were wondering if we even had football. So, I mean, we can complain about this and that, but listen, we're still getting to play football. The season's going on. So those are great things for us and the SEC and everybody in college football.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that's all the questions we have for you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.